All right, welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving into a really remarkable snapshot of the extreme climate contrast happening right now across the United States. It's August 2026, and looking at the National Weather Service data, wow, it paints a picture of a nation that is just heavily, completely divided by atmospheric extremes. We are not just talking about your standard scattered showers here. Nope. We're looking at a day where huge chunks of the country are literally baking under dangerous heat. Whole regions are blanketed in wildfire smoke, and a massive, unified wall of water is just drenching the entire eastern seaboard. It's a wildly dynamic weather map, and by breaking down these numbers today, we're going to really get a sense of the sheer scale of the environmental forces at play. So let's get into it. Here's what we're looking at today. First, extreme heat down south. Second, eastern seaboard thunderstorms. Third, western smoke and sun. And finally, number 4, the coolest escapes. So starting off with Section 1, extreme heat down south, with scorching temperatures across the Sunbelt. You know, the National Weather Service isn't just calling things sunny or warm down there today. They've actually attached a stark, honestly aggressively blunt tag to several of these cities, VRY hot. Yeah, spelled with no vowels to kind of soften the blow, it literally spells out the danger. We're seeing this VRY hot warning applied to desert Southwest cities like Phoenix, sitting at 107 degrees, and Tucson at 104. But here's the thing. The heat doesn't just stop in the desert. It stretches all the way over to the humid southeast, triggering that exact same warning in places like Charlotte, North Carolina at 97 degrees and Savannah, Georgia, baking at 99. This specific label, it's a huge indicator of exceptional, dangerous heat that absolutely commands our respect and caution. And if you want to talk about the absolute peak of this heat wave, well, just look at this number, 111 degrees Fahrenheit. That is the actual forecast for Yuma, Arizona today. Sitting right there in the desert Southwest, Yuma is claiming the most extreme high temperature on the board, categorized right under that same VRY hot warning we just talked about. I mean, this isn't just an uncomfortable day at the park. This is a staggering, physically exhausting level of heat. And you know, this perfectly illustrates the harsh divides we're seeing across the map today. Just look at this comparison. Down in Texas, you've got cities just baking under bone-dry, completely sunny skies. Wichita Falls is hitting an incredible 108 degrees, and Dallas-Fort Worth is right on its heels at 106. It's arid, it's bright, and it is relentlessly hot. But if you look over at the Mid-Atlantic, the script just completely flips. In places like Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia, the temperatures actually drop down into the mid to high 80s, so 88 in D.C. and 84 in Philly. But they trade that severe heat for wet, turbulent showers and thunderstorms, which actually makes for a really perfect bridge into the second major story of the day. That brings us to Section 2, Eastern Seaboard Thunderstorms, basically a giant wall of water stretching from Florida all the way up to Pennsylvania. So if the story down south is dry heat, the East Coast is dealing with a massive wall of water. And what's absolutely crucial to notice here is how remarkably uniform this storm system is, especially across such vastly different latitudes. From Miami Beach down at 93 degrees, moving up through Orlando at 96, into Atlanta at a sweltering 98 degrees, and all the way up to Philadelphia at 84, every single one of these major hubs is sharing the exact same condition: thunderstorms. It is incredibly rare to see such a synchronized line of severe weather hitting so many densely populated coastal and inland cities all at the exact same time. Let's see how this builds as we trace this activity even further north. The data shows this system just sweeping right through Virginia, hitting Norfolk and Richmond with thunderstorms and 92-degree heat. As it pushes up into Delaware and Pennsylvania, the temperatures do start to taper off a bit. Wilmington drops to 82, and Allentown cools down to 76. But here's the kicker. Despite those cooling temperatures, that relentless thunderstorm condition just persists. The single weather event is literally connecting seemingly completely separate regions, creating this shared, wet, wild experience across the whole eastern seaboard today. Moving on to Section 3, Western Smoke and Sun, bringing hazy skies and high heat out west. Now, much like that VRA hot tag we saw earlier, the National Weather Service uses another very specific categorization here: smoke. And what's striking is just how widespread this is. We aren't just looking at one isolated town having a bad air day. We've got Boise, Idaho hitting 100 degrees entirely shrouded in smoke, Pendleton, Oregon at 94, Casper, Wyoming at 94, and up in Montana, both Missoula and Great Falls are reporting smoky conditions in the low 90s. When we group these specific cities together, it's super clear how highly localized wildfires or atmospheric patterns are actually teaming up to form a massive, cohesive, and incredibly hazy regional event across multiple states right now. But even within the western half of the country, there is a really stark divide. While places like Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho are dealing with all that haze and smoke, just a bit further south, the skies are, well, punishingly clear. The desert Southwest is just baking under completely clear, uninterrupted sunshine. For example, Las Vegas is soaring to 109 degrees, and Salt Lake City is hitting 101, all under purely sunny skies. So it's really a tale of two Western climates today, hazy and stifling to the north, and searingly bright down to the south. And finally, Section 4, the coolest escapes. Let's find some relief in the north and west. With all this severe heat and all these aggressive storms, you might be wondering, where on earth is the relief? Well, to truly appreciate these cooler zones, just look at the massive drop on this chart. We start all the way at the top with Yuma's extreme, totally dangerous 111-degree heat. But if you jump over to San Francisco, you plunge down to a really mild, mostly cloudy 70 degrees. And if you go all the way up to Anchorage, Alaska, the temperature bottoms out at a chilly 60 degrees. That is the incredible reality of a continental weather system like ours. You can literally have boiling deserts and chilly coastal breezes happening at the exact same moment. So, let's walk through some of these refreshing outliers. If you want the absolute coolest weather today, you are for sure heading to Alaska. Anchorage is sitting at 60 degrees and Juneau is right there at 61. Back down in the lower 48, San Francisco is offering a beautiful 70-degree day, and Duluth, Minnesota is at a very comfortable 72. But there is a trade-off. Escaping the heat today almost universally means putting up with some moisture or gray skies. Anchorage and Duluth are dealing with showers, Juneau has steady rain, and San Francisco is mostly cloudy. So today, it seems you can either have the sun or you can have the cool, but it's pretty darn hard to find both. Which brings us to a final thought. When we look at all this together, the VRY hot southern belt, the massive wall of thunderstorms out east, the smoky haze blanketing the mountain west, we're seeing an incredibly active atmosphere. I mean, with temperatures swinging from a chilly 60 degrees in Anchorage all the way to a dangerous 111 degrees in Yuma on the exact same day, what does this massive 51-degree national split tell us about our dynamic, rapidly shifting climate? It's a stark reminder of the incredible, powerful forces at play above our heads every single day. Thanks so much for joining me to break down these extremes in today's explainer, and definitely keep your eyes on the skies.